Hello and welcome to the Meeple Mentor YouTube channel. I'm Jared, and with me is Holly.
Hi.
We are doing our review of Clash of Galliformes. So, this is a 1 to 6 player area control kind of game where you need to place your birds out and outposts and basically get points for completing your board and things like that. It plays over 20 rounds or until, what was it,
Are you sure it's not 50? Because I'm pretty sure 20 is what we determined.
So this is where some conflict ended up on between the rule book and what's maybe on the earlier advertisement on Kickstarter. Some of the rules we found to be a little bit different, and we couldn't get some clarification on that. So the rule book at one point said 20, and then another area we saw it was played to 50. Not 100%. There were a lot of instances when we played this that I guess because there hasn't been a whole lot out about the game yet, for clarifications, for FAQs, none of that was available to us. So we had to kind of do our best judgment on that. But yes, either you play a certain number of rounds or one player builds two special instruments or equipment pieces and has built a puzzle. Mm-hmm. And so essentially, you're placing your stuff, you're exploring, you're adding new outposts, getting more resources, and then spending those resources to get more birds, to get these equipment pieces, and to upgrade your ability to fight. Because ultimately, it is Clash of Galliformes, so there will be fights.
Well, there are supposed to be fights.
There are supposed to be fights. We played it 3 players, and in our case, what she's alluding to is me and our third player person. She and I were constantly fighting because we were very close in space to the areas we were trying to be, and apparently my nest was like at the exact intersection from the left side of the board to the right side of the board. So she had to continually go through my guys. Whereas Holly, probably more smartly, put herself at the beginning of the game on the other corner of the map and pretty much operated independently for a long time.
Yeah.
You know what? Looking back, a lot of the strategy in the game starts with the initial placement.
Listen, here's me in every area control game. I don't want to be picked on. I'm going to this corner over here. And it usually works.
Yeah. It certainly helps her in this case. By getting your stuff out, that's points. And by placing outposts, that improves your income. And she basically had free reign to this without much conflict for a while.
Because you also get to place out your numbers that you have to collect, mm-hmm. and your artifact.
Equipment pieces.
The things that you upgrade that you have to collect. Yeah. You get to place those out. So I placed them out, just around me. And then you can also trade between people. Mm-hmm. So once everything was taken that I couldn't get anymore, I just happened to be able to move up the board and collect double numbers. Mm-hmm. So I started trading the numbers for what I wanted.
Yep. And if no one's trading with you, then you can attack them or attack an outpost and basically take one of the things that they haven't placed on their board yet. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of things to place on our board. There's 9, digit tokens that you're supposed to collect to fill out the puzzle. Mm-hmm. Once those are all collected and placed on your board, then you can start collecting puzzle pieces to replace those. And essentially there's 3 horizontal puzzle pieces for each puzzle, and there's like 5 options, I think, that you can start to create. If you do complete one, then you get its ability, and of course completing one is worth a lot of points. I think it was like 9 points. Mm-hmm. Plus, it's an in-game condition, so it's something that everyone's trying to do. But I'm going to go back to the setup of this game, because to start, every player gets to place 2 map tiles out and place their starting nest. that's really crucial because there's no game board that's going to be consistent from game to game. It's however it gets aligned at the start of the game is your map. As we found, it put myself into more fight conflict than Holly had.
I think it also had a lot to do with the way the tiles got laid out, like the shape, the final shape that it was in. Because as you'll see on the back of the box here, it's just laid out in a straight rectangle. We didn't do that.
Yeah, ours was kind of like a W or something.
Yeah.
So there were definite points that were harder to get to.
So I did end up isolated.
Yeah. But the other big thing that you do after getting the map and your nest out is, like you were saying, you put out all the little chits, all the little cardboard pieces, and one by one, that's all the numbers and all the equipment pieces. And they're, depending on player count, there's always a full set of everything per player. So there's a set of 9 for every player. There's a set of equipment pieces for every player, and all of it gets placed out. And it's at those intersections where you move to, you pick them up, and then you can place, outposts during that part of your turn where you're building up. The big benefit of placing the outposts, if I didn't already mention, was it increases your income. And there's 3 basic resources that you're collecting during the game. And that's what you spend your stuff on. I will say the components on this are really nice. The player boards are well made. They're like a dual layer board where you put your wooden cubes in them to track, what you have and what you spend and all that. So there's no extra, like resource pieces to collect. You just move it on a scale. Given that scale, you're kind of maxed out once you hit 10 of anything. But that in itself can give you points by maxing them out. The birds or the clans, I guess, all have their own starting unique power. And there are so many additional abilities that you can buy in this game. And it just costs 10 collective resources of whatever 3, types of resources. That also ended up becoming a good turning point for getting the right abilities on the right birds. Essentially, you've got like the large birds and your small birds. Smallers are cheaper and easier to get out, but not as strong. And then the large ones are stronger, but you have less of them. But yeah, getting those extra abilities can be very useful. So definitely don't forget about them because they kind of sit in a pile on the table.
Not only extra abilities, but another important thing to remember is to build up your nest and outposts because they have no defense when they hit the board. Absolutely. And that comes back to, you spend your resources on a few different things, but part of it is defense, part of it is your attack. And, whenever someone's attacking your outpost, sometimes that gives an auto defense. There's some dice rolls that happen. There's cards that can be played, to try to affect your total number. And essentially the tie is always given to the attacker. So it encourages you to be the attacker. Overall, what are your thoughts on having played this? And I liked it. I wasn't sure about it at the beginning, but I'm never sure about anything at the beginning. So
It definitely has some unique art to it, and unique ideas. Like clans that kind of adopted a type of bird as their mascot. And they're I guess they're riding them. I mean, I don't really know.
Yeah.
But because all the pieces are birds, but I assume there's actually like people riding them, but you just don't see them.
I mean, it's in the picture.
Exactly. So I'm not usually one for games about risk type of war game or
me either.
Area control. So I think overall I kind of just felt average about it. It wasn't bad. It could use with a rewrite of the rules and some clarifications. I probably
liked it because I won.
Maybe. I mean, she definitely won.
I never win area control games.
I think generally to me it was just kind of average. It wasn't stellar and it wasn't bad. I felt like...
You did struggle with that rule book though.
I felt like getting over the problems we had with the rule book and clarification on certain things. Like even does the game go to 20 rounds or 50 rounds? I still don't really know. And that's kind of a problem. And if you look online on BGG, I took it upon myself to make a player reference because there isn't any in the game. There's just nothing to help you. And with all the abilities that you have and the fact that all the puzzle pieces do something, everybody needs to know what that is. And there's nothing to reference other than the rule book, which is hard to read through. So hopefully...
Not only that, I don't want to pass the rule book around the table. Yeah. I might knock something over.
Yeah. Hopefully the reference I made will help you guys as you're playing this game.
It helped us.
Yes, it definitely proved itself to me that it was needed. But, you tell me, I felt like it was overall just okay. I'm not even going to say it was a fun time. It was just an okay time. I don't...
You and Andy really went to war, though, and I kind of just, went to my own devices, so...
You played it like a different game than I played.
I did, yeah. I definitely... Andy played a different game than both of us, I think.
It's true.
She went to fortifying. Mm-hmm. She had birds all over that little area she was in. It was great.
And I was kind of a little bit here, a little bit there, and then fight when I had to kind of thing. So all three of us had a little different bit of strategy overall. But, I mean, I remember Andy saying she liked it.
Yeah.
So, there you go. It's an average game. Could be better.
Could definitely be worse.
Could be worse. I don't know what else to say other than it's maybe not quite the game for me, but I'm not...
You might be scarred a little
I'm
by
not
the rule
usually
book
a fan of these kinds of games. But yeah, that's true. Whenever I see a game that has a really tough rule book or just poorly made rule book, it already sours my experience. So maybe with another printing, some of these issues will get fixed.
I see here that it's in 3 different languages, so maybe that's part of the culprit there.
I think some of the translation maybe got a little mistaken or something. There should be more images in the rulebook, and there just aren't. More examples, there just aren't. There's spelling mistakes. You know what I mean? There's a lot.
I didn't read it, so
there's a lot that could be fixed.
But I did notice it was very dense text.
But the game itself, not bad. But I mean, is it better than other area control games? Not really.
I mean, I am so not a fan of area control games that literally the only one I can think of is Risk, and I've never played it, so...
All right. Well, there you go. That's our thoughts on Clash of Galliformes. Stick around on the channel to see more of our reviews and unboxings and content like this. But until then, I've been Jared.
I'm Holly.
Bye-bye.